It's out with the old and in with the new. Here is how everything in the replacement boots have been going over this past month. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I feel like it's been a very long time since I've made a video like this, and that is mostly because I have been sick twice in the past month, so I haven't been doing much and I haven't been able to film a lot of videos. I also had a lot of pre-recorded things that I did have to get rid of to make space for some virtual tests that I had been doing. So now that that is all out of the way and I'm feeling so much better, I thought I would give you an update on how the replacement boots are going, because my last video I talked about having boots that just seem to have a manufacturing defect. A lot of you noticed the differences in that video, and I can say that I instantly noticed the difference the moment I stepped on the ice with the new boots. I am so excited to tell you how that has been going for the past month. Okay, new skates update. Everything feels better, but I've only been able to do crossovers and my arch is hurt, but that's normal, so I'll keep you updated. Oh, my feet hurt. As you can tell from those clips, my arches are really hurting, which is completely normal when I'm breaking in my Edea skates. I think typically my arch pain goes away by like day 3 or day 5, day 7. So the first couple days are a bit rough. I'm a little bit sad I had to start over with the break-in process, but really it's for the best. The very first session, I basically did very slow moving crossovers, and I was also a little bit paranoid, so I was doing 1-foot glides, really trying to make sure that these boots were not like the old boots. Okay, now it's the test. Everything else has been good. Now it's the spins. I'm really nervous. Then I moved on to a couple spins, and honestly, I was also really nervous about this because I had changed my technique in the other boots, so I was able to spin because I competed in the other boots, and obviously I didn't want to not get my spins counted in competition. So I was trying to switch back to the old technique and at the same time figure out if the boots feel correct, like if my foot is putting pressure on the spot that it was before I got the other boots. The backspin didn't feel 100%, but it was noticeably much better than the old boots, so I will take it. And by day 2, I finally figured it out. So I think I was just used to how the backspins had to feel in the old boots, and then I was on my toe in the new boots, so then I changed everything, and ever since then, backspins have gotten much better. I also decided to start working on jumps for day 2, and everything felt more secure and the takeoffs felt correct. Like I was hitting all of the points and the pressure points of my feet correctly. If you remember when I very first got the allegedly defective pair, I would land and I was landing flat, which was causing back pain issues. So that's why we ended up moving my blade and then finding out it was the boot. But yeah, I was in severe back pain the first day or 2 of those skates. I had 0 back pain in these boots. So I already knew that that was a better sign. The other thing I noticed when looking back at the footage of me trying the jumps on day 2 is that the height of the jumps looked significantly better and the access looked correct. When I look back at the videos I took in the allegedly defective pair, it definitely looks like I was not getting a lot of height despite putting a considerable amount of effort into the takeoffs of my jumps. And it also looked like my axis in the air was slightly off. I was either tilted to the side or leaning forward, and I really felt this when I would do axles. It just felt like something was not spinning correctly no matter what I did. It felt like I was fighting myself in the air, where now in the new boot, I don't feel like that at all. And when I look at the videos, the axis and the takeoff and the landing, everything looks so much better. On day 3, I did loop, flip, lutz, and axle. And actually I did some doubles. So I did basically all of my jumps. My air position was so good on this day. Like, these doubles on the harness felt effortless. Minus, I can never land the double sow cow like nicely on the harness, but double toe never disappoints. Also worked on some spins and they weren't too bad. The only thing is, obviously since it's day 3, it was a little bit hard to hold the sit spin without falling over, mostly because the tongue just hasn't been fully broken in yet. It takes me about like a week to a week and a half to feel really solid in those, but it's not like I can't do them. That's just kind of how it is. And then I got the flu, and it was not an easy ride. I was out sick for a solid week and a half to 2 weeks. I had a horrible fever for about 3 or 4 days, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember a solid portion of my week. And then the cherry on top of all of this is that when I knew I got the replacement boots, I went ahead and signed up for a competition that I wanted to do, because then I would have like boots that worked. And that competition just so happened to be basically 2 weeks from when I got sick. So as I started to feel better, and better is a very loose term for this, as I started to feel like I could stand up without wanting to sit back down and sleep for 12 hours, I had maybe a day and a half before my events to prepare for 3 events, and I didn't withdraw from any of them. I really should have. I think the best way to put this is I was feeling upright. I was not feeling better, but I went through with it, and I ended up actually like landing the double sow cow. Obviously it wasn't fully rotated, but that's pretty close for me in competition. On the contrary though, I completely bombed the jumps event. I messed up basically all of the jumps, and then I ended up doing things out of order because they have changed the jumps event rule a couple times, and I forgot that the new rule is that you can't go back and do whatever jumps you want at the end of the program or whenever you feel like it. You have to do your second attempt right after the first one, and the second attempt is the only one that counts. So it's not the best of the 2 anymore, it's the second one that you do. And after the double sow cow, I was feeling so good and so upset that I had bombed the entire program. I went and just threw another axle in. Don't follow my instruction. This is not how you're supposed to do the jumps event, so do not do this. The next morning I had my free skate, and to preface this, I had not run this free skate full out sick, and I had not run this free skate full out honestly probably since April. Like adult nationals was the last time I did a full program run through. So I wasn't really sure how this was going to go, but it ended up going really well. I was actually about 0.6 off from a new personal best. And if I would have had a better catch camel, or even just attempted the combo instead of the catch camel, or honestly had a better second axle in the program, I would have reached a new personal best. So that was a pleasant surprise. After competition, I was feeling much better. So I was working on bits and pieces of my program and a couple double sow cows. Wanted to start adding speed and a little bit more distance to my single axle so I can guarantee positive GOE. However, unfortunately, tragedy struck, and if you have watched the practice novice moves in the field with me video, you know that I ended up getting sick again. This was barely a week after feeling better, so I was really sad. I ended up getting a cold. Thankfully, it was not as bad as the flu. This left me feeling really tired, and I had a really bad sore throat that lingered for about a week, but finally, as of like the end of last week, beginning of last week, I finally started to feel like better, and now I'm feeling 100%. So I have been through it for this past month. Once I started to feel better, I decided I wanted to work on flying spins just to keep them in the rotation of possibilities to add into my program. The other thing that I've been working on is improving my Lutz edge consistency. I have a really good outside edge, but I tend to pull very inside last minute, and I think that is the result of a bad habit or bad technique I was taught at my very first club, and I've been trying to fix this for the longest time, and so my protocol sheets are kind of all over the place, where sometimes I'll get an edge call, edge warning, and then sometimes I'll get clean. So I have been trying really hard to keep it as clean as possible consistently, so I will maybe make a separate video for that because I have noticed quite a bit of improvement over the past couple weeks. The other thing that I have slowly started working on is just improving the air position of my flip and Lutz. They're not really bad, and I still do get positive GOE here and there for them because I get a lot of distance and I get a lot of height, but I tend to stick out my legs like this. And honestly, that's more of a personal preference thing. I would say that improving the air position on all of my singles is kind of a personal endeavor or just a goal to focus on for the next year. Going back to the axles, that has been paying off, and I feel like they have been looking really good and they've been feeling really good, and overall everything feels a million times better than it did with the allegedly defective pair. So this has been a really long video, but that is everything that I have been up to in the new boots. Thank you so much to all of you that reached out and told me your stories about having a similar issue with your boots, and also encouraging me to reach out to Edea and Skates U.S. And thank you so much to Skates U.S. for sending me these. I am so happy that I'm back on track. Hopefully you have a good rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video.